Hi, it's MrByZ again, and here we go with some more Walmart exclusive TVC, as we've got the Luke and Endor poncho, the Death Star Droid, and the Tusken Raider. And, of course, these are from Walmart and being shipped through Walmart. Oh, boy, let's go see what we've got. So all of these showed up in the last week. My Tusken Raider showed up together in a box that fit them very well with some with a bubble in it. Well, I think it was like just one bubble. And they both actually look really good. Those showed up on Thursday. The Luke ponchos and the two Death Star droids showed up in 3 different bubble mailers. And we'll get to the condition on each. Although, actually, you look. So you can see one of my Luke ponchos, the bubble got smushed a little bit. The card's not bad on this one. The other one actually looks pretty good. And, you know, when I order 2, one to open, one to keep carded, I tend to get one that's pretty good, but, you know, my Death Star droids fared better. He got a little smushed bubble right here. It's hard to see because I punched it back out. The card's pretty good. The other one has a little bit of bend here in the card, but it's not bad. As far as bubble mailers go, I feel really lucky with those. And my Tuskens are actually great. They both look very good. So we'll actually start with the Tusken Raider since that's the first one I got. And of course, the Tusken Raider was released on a vintage card way back. Was it 2006, 2007? Back when we got them in clamshells. They were special releases. You know, it started off with those 12 initial releases in 2004, and the Tusken Raider was part of the continuing kind of work on that, which ultimately led into the TVC happening in 2020 as a regular line. This is supposed to be updated with better articulation. We'll compare that in a minute. So we have his weapons, his gaffy stick, and his rifle right there. It did come in this right here. You know, if Hasbro wants to eliminate plastic from their packaging, to me they could just tape things in. I don't know, but all right. So here is our Tusken. Let's get a good look at him. I know some of the early pictures on him, his face looked really bad. The detail looks good. I don't know, like there we go. It's a little stiff. I've heard the hands on these are stiff. I'll get to that in a minute. I don't know. The face looks a little washed out to me. Like you compare in there, like I'm looking at the old one. I'll do a full comparison on in a minute. The colors don't quite look right. Like this looks more gray than tan. So let's see. The hands I have heard have a hard time moving. People have been breaking hands on these. Mine seem to be okay. They do seem tight, which is the type of thing you feel like it could be just twisting inside and it'll break the plastic eventually. We do have kind of these gauzy robes on them, which is very similar to what we got before. Although I'm noticing it's clean cut on the bottom rather than raggedy as on the previous. He does have the skirt. We have full articulation down here in the legs. Let's see. Let's take a look at the arms. Let's go ahead and take this off here. There we go. So you can really see these arms. This is hard to get off. I do like this thinner material. It does look good, but it always makes you worried about getting it off. There we go. Now you can see his arm there. The articulation, full articulation shoulder and in the elbow, which I know the previous one did not have all that in the elbow, was the big thing there. So that is kind of looking at that. So let's compare it to the previous release. Now, of course, the previous release was been re-released multiple times, over and over and over. It has, let's see, sometimes I have things glued. No, okay, there we go. So let's go ahead and take a sleeve off of this old one. Well, first, let's compare heads. I think I like the old head better. I just think it looks better. I can see if they'd made this like the Mandalorian one, which I'm surprised they haven't done that. Of course, that could be down the line. We could get a Mandalorian Tusken easy. I could see that as a little bit more. The chest looks to be the same mold. Yes, I would say that is definitely the same mold. In there, the belt looks to be the same. So let's look at these arms here. That's going to be the big difference from what I can think of. Yeah, come on. Hopefully this goes back on easy. All right, so let's compare the arms here. So it looks like, let's get a better look at that. There we go. Looks like the arm is an entirely new mold there. We have a lot, of course, the same elements and everything. I think the hands are the same, but of course the old one, it just has a swivel joint on the arm like that, whereas the new one has the ball joint. Look at it from the other perspective here. Yeah, that is a new sculpt on the arm. And you can see the back is still the same, although it looks, the detail looks a little bit better on the newer one. So it looks like we have new arms. And I'm trying to see, yeah, that's a new head sculpt. There's definitely a different head sculpt on that. So new arms, new head. The rest looks the same. Now, like I said, on the skirts and everything, the old one has kind of a raggedy look to the bottom edge of it, and this has a clean cut. So that's the biggest difference I'm seeing on the Tusken Raider here. Next, we're going to open the Death Star droid. Now, I mean, the Death Star droid's picture here is so awesome. That is so, like, vintage card right there, which is so cool. I don't think I showed the back of the card here. You can see here. Is there something new that was added on? Maybe that's a different thing. Oh, it has Star Wars Legends in there. That's a new thing that they've added into that. I thought there was one other thing added in. I might just be missing it, but we have all sorts of course, different things in there. So, let's go ahead and open this up. Now, the previous release of this, the last time we had one really released like this, was in a Target exclusive vintage 3-pack. I think that came with the Snaggletooth that we got recently as well. I want to think it was Snaggletooth and Power Droid, if I remember correctly. And it was also done as a Build-A-Droid in the Legacy line, which is probably the same mold as those. Although that paint job looks really good here. It's got a shinier paint. It looks like Hasbro's been doing better with their silver paints. It's still not vac metallized, but you know, it still is looking better. They're getting a good wash on this. In all in all, it looks pretty good. In fact, we can compare it to the previous release. Here it is. I'm pretty sure this is the Target exclusive one. You can see what that wash does. The silver looks a little bit better. That head, the paint on the head looks better. It just looks more like it. And of course, we call this Death Star droid, and yet, in fact, this is the RA7 that we see on the Sandcrawler. So the Death Star droid was actually black, which they've released that too. But yeah, you can see it's all exactly the same mold. It's just an updated paint job, albeit a pretty good one. It definitely looks better than the original here, or the previous release, I should say. But, you know, it'd be nicer if it was all chromed, but I get it. So at least with the black wash, it does help it kind of look a little shinier. Lastly, we're going to do the Luke Skywalker and the Endor poncho. Of course, in the vintage line, this was a Power of the Force figure, which I really would rather this be a Power of the Force. It's still sad. The only Power of the Force figure we've gotten in the vintage line now is that yak face that came with the sail barge. I'd love to see more like that, more exclusives that could be like that. See, the back is still the same. It's a nice picture. I mean, it's nice to see that picture all blown up, whereas in the Power of the Force, it was like a little bit smaller because there was more on it with the coin and everything. But, you know, I'd still like to see that Power of the Force card come back, whether it just be with exclusives or, you know, whatever. There's all sorts of stuff they could do with that. That'd be pretty cool. I'm sure they could do a whole exclusive line of figures we've already bought, and they just came with the coin on Power of the Force cards and buy them up too, as long as it wasn't through Walmart, right? So this bubble got pretty mangled. Now, in early stuff, one of the big things that we heard about this figure, of course, is the helmet does not come off, which, you know, the vintage figure, the helmet didn't come off too, but it is sad because all previous versions of this that we've gotten, the helmet has come off. The poncho does look better than what we've seen before. It has a better deco to it, which is what we saw in that Leia Endor poncho previously too, is that the poncho definitely looked a lot better. I've seen people online have pulled these helmets off, and it's just a head with a slot inside. There's no hair or anything. Oh, I just pulled the whole head off. You can see there's like a little bit of hair right there just to give the effect, but it is, in fact, no hair underneath. So, you know, you could do your own thing, obviously. The helmet does look good, I will say that. Like the Leia had a better helmet on her, and I think we've gotten that here. Previously, we kept getting the same helmet over and over. He does have a black belt to connect it. And if we look at the figure underneath, there are no robes. It's the kind of the Death Star Luke. It's probably the Death Star Luke mold that we're getting here. And there's been some debate as to which should he have robes or not. And a lot of people say no, and yet you think to that scene where Luke is talking to Leia about her mother and everything on the Ewok village, and he's got his robes on. So clearly at some point he was wearing robes on Endor. And a lot of previous figures we've gotten have had the robes underneath. But, again, for most of us, it's going to stay underneath the poncho anyway, so it doesn't matter. He does come with the blaster here that he never uses outside of Jabba's palace, and a lit lightsaber and an unlit lightsaber, which he uses lightsaber a lot. So the biggest differences we're seeing here is it looks like it's the Death Star 2 Luke with the new head with the helmet on it, a new belt, and a better looking poncho. And if we compare, here's the previous release that we've gotten, which of course it has a helmet comes off, but this is the same helmet that we got on everything previously. I think the poncho, even though it's riding up right here on the collar, I think the poncho looks better. The previous one looks more green, where it's definitely supposed to be more tan. In the vintage figure we get that, and on screen we see that. You can see the belt is different. The belt was previous, pretty close to like what the Endor Leia had, which is what the vintage kind of had too. Although you could put, in this case, it's a like Han Solo blaster in there. Every other versions come with the Palace blaster type of thing, but you can see the differences. It's a pretty good looking figure, although the face doesn't quite look right in my opinion. Maybe I'm just getting shadows. Let me turn on the light. I see what the problem is with the face. Mine's off a little bit. The paint masking is actually up a little bit, so his mouth paint is actually right underneath the nose. It looks like he has a mustache, and it put his eyes a little bit higher. Interesting. I guess this is one. If I find another one, I'm going to have to buy it because, yeah, there we go. You can see that looks a lot better in my carded version I'm keeping here. This is definitely a wonky figure. It happens, there's little mistakes, but the actual face, the way it's supposed to look, looks a lot better. He just looks like he's got a mustache and his eyes are a little higher there. But how it's supposed to look actually looks much better. And that's the problem with ordering online. You can't always see what you get, but we'll see if I actually find this in the store. I think the previous Walmart wave, I did find the Leia Endor in stores once. I can't remember if I saw any of the other ones in the store. But, yeah, so this is the Luke Endor. Other than the crappy face on mine, I think this is a good update. So, where do we go with these figures? How do we feel? Number one, Walmart still sucks at shipping. Not that I expected anything different. They're mostly repaints, reissues. All of these are reusing previous parts. The nice looking cards. Probably the only one that was really needed was the Tusken Raider, although the updated articulation was nice on that. But we've already gotten that card before. The other two are brand new cards for the carded collectors out there. In the end, I mean, they're nice, but yeah, I don't know. Considering we go through the Walmart shipping and then there's not much new here, it kind of sucks a little bit. And again, I would much rather get that Luke on a Power of the Force card rather than on a Jedi card. All right, so I hope this helps you decide if you want to try and scour Walmarts for this, or hope for luck on any that you pre-ordered in the mail that they come looking in good condition.